know, I just love a good time watching Charlie Kirk just absolutely smash a race baiting student, not literally, but figuratively, of course, with facts and logic. I don't know about you guys, but it never gets old for me. We're gonna see a great example of that right now. But first, everybody, very important, please make sure you like our video, share it around, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream channel. Why subscribe? So we can keep bringing you this great content, guys. That's why. I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into it.
Hi, y'all. So before I ask my question, I want to clarify a point that y'all mentioned earlier. You said you don't believe in white privilege, correct?
Yeah, it's a myth. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
Let's go.
So according to the Bureau of Prison Statistics from last month, 38.3% of our current inmate population is black. But according to the 2020 census data, only 12.2% of our national population is black. So if you don't believe in white privilege, how do you explain this disparity?
So why are they in jail?
It has been this way for years, since the 90s.
No, why do people go to jail?
Why are black people in jail at higher rates than white people?
That's the question, right? Maybe because they commit more crimes than white people.
But that's not true. It actually is.
They do. So every independent analysis shows that blacks have committed a disproportionate amount of crime. No one wants to say it out loud, but it's true. In fact, in New York, 52% of murders are committed by blacks, 40+% of arson, 60+% of drug deals. And so the question you should really be asking is what drives them to commit crimes? That's the question, right? The real question is, and maybe I can ask you, what percentage of blacks are raised with two parents in the home?
So actually, according to the Uniform Crime Report for 2019, black or African American individuals committed only about 1 million crimes, while white people committed about 4 million crimes.
But that's a proportion.
How about the proportion?
There's a lot more white people.
So the answer to the question that she just blatantly ignored, how many blacks are in two-parent homes, it's about 25%. That is to say, 3 out of 4 black people in America grow up with only one parent in the household. Truly tragic and truly unacceptable. For that to happen to anybody, black or white or whatever, it's just not right.
Black people in the United States.
It's a 60% white country and a 14% black country. So you just proved my point. You literally, so basically that's a disproportionate amount of crime. It is.
But listen, I want to say, look, you are coming up here and you're asking the question, and that's not easy to do, first and foremost, no matter what. And I really appreciate your question in front of all these people. It's hard. So thank you for asking your question. But let me point out what you just did, and you didn't know that you did it. You switched from proportion to raw numbers. And you did that to make a point that you thought you were making, but you weren't. But look, your issue was that black Americans only make up 13% of the population, and yet they make up, I think you said, like 38% of the prison population. And then you switched to raw numbers because, so black people only make up 13% of the population, but they commit 40% of all homicides and 60% of all violent crime. Unfortunately, I don't think that's anything inherent in black Americans. That's not what I'm saying. That's just a fact. And
I actually think Ali Stuckey is underreporting it. It's the numbers I've seen, it's more in the tune of 13% of the population, as she said, but over half of murders in America. In other words, they're a minority of the population, but commit the majority of homicides.
What he's saying is, look, we've got to look at why that is. So you're claiming that that disparity is inherent proof of discrimination. So would you also say the fact that there are fewer Asians in jail means that than white people, that there is discrimination against white people? No? Disparity isn't proof of discrimination is what I'm trying to say.
So let me just throw, and Allie's exactly right. What percentage of blacks grow up with two parents in the home?
I don't know.
Yeah, less than 20%. That's why there's so many blacks committing crimes and they're in jail. It's that simple. The death of the black family is why blacks are in jail higher than their population percentage. It's that simple.
May I see your criminology degree? Do you have one?
I'm sorry. Wait.
We've gotta.
Does she have an ounce of intelligence? Because clearly not. If her retort to that is, show me your degree, bro, she's got nothing. Just pathetic. Really pathetic.
Are you a biologist, Ketanji Brown Jackson?
No, let me ask you a question. So do I need a criminology degree to be able to understand that 75% of blacks don't grow up with two parents?
Exactly.
To be well versed in it, I believe so.
Okay.
Do you have one?
I don't, but I'm studying it.
Okay, but you
studied it.
But you did the same thing. You looked at a statistic, and he did the same thing. You don't have a criminology degree, neither does he.
Hold on a second. You're doing an argument from authority, okay?
It's a fallacy.
So the laws of physics don't change whether or not you're a physicist, okay? The law of thermodynamics doesn't change whether or not you take a course on it. Answer the question. Why do blacks have a broken family versus a nuclear family, and does that translate to higher rates of crime? Do you admit that?
Why is it that blacks don't have parents, though? Why?
Good question. We subsidize single motherhood in this country through the federal government of the United States. Great question. Now we're getting somewhere. Back in the 1960s, we put forward a program where black women married the government and broke up with the men they were with. Welfare state, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and that has contributed to blacks committing more crimes.
I believe institutionalized racism is your answer, but I don't believe I'm getting anywhere with y'all.
But no, just
Fun little experiment, guys. Look up a famous quote attributed to Lyndon B. Johnson, the Democrat president who helped push forward the Great Society. It was something to do with a very colorful way of describing black people. He called them a certain word, and he promised that they'd have political support from them for a very long period of time.
just let me point something out. Did you know that it's not white Americans that have the lowest incarceration rate or the lowest rates of crime or the highest graduation rates or the highest median income? It's not white Americans. It's Asian Americans. They have the highest median income. They have the highest graduation rates. They have the most degrees. They have the lowest incarceration rates. And guess what? They also have the lowest single parenthood rates. Okay? So that is true across the board. It's not just black Americans. And unless you're willing to say that the reason why Asian Americans make more than white Americans or the reason why Asian Americans go to jail less than white Americans is because there is systemic institutional racism against white people in this country, then your argument against black people doesn't really work.
So let me ask you one thing. So institutional racism. I got a black friend right up here. He's great. He's great. So let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. What can I do that he can't do?
What do you mean?
If institutional racism was real, what can I do that he can't do?
Well, you're less likely to get arrested.
I'm sorry. No, if we both commit a crime, he's going to get arrested and I'm not?
He could.
Wait, so we just went through this. Blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crime in this country because of broken families. So give me one law on the books. You said it's institutional.
Families.
Give me a law anywhere that discriminates against blacks. Give me one law anywhere in America.
You want current or past?
How about right now?
Well, the fact that crack cocaine is criminalized more than regular cocaine.
No. If I deal crack cocaine, I'm getting arrested regardless of skin color. Give me a.
So fun fact about the crack cocaine thing. The reason why we have stiffer penalties for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine is actually because inner city black legislators decided in the 1980s, that cocaine was ravaging their communities and it couldn't be tolerated anymore. What did they do? They stiffened the penalties for crack cocaine. So these were black people who passed these laws, but it's systemic racism of white people, apparently, that they were passed. Make it make sense, guys, because it doesn't make sense.
White cocaine,
give me a law anywhere that allows white people to commit crimes and get away with it and blacks can't. Does that law exist?
Not anymore. But
because there's no institutional racism in America. The idea of institutional racism is laws on the books.
Just because it's not down on paper doesn't mean it's not real.
Okay, give us an example. Not just a disparity. Not just a disparity.
God isn't, you don't see God.
He's on paper. Read the Bible.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm getting nowhere with y'all, and y'all are not answering my questions, so I'm going to end this Q&A right here. Thank you for your time.
We actually did answer her questions, but I do appreciate, even though she's got an attitude,
no kidding.
I do appreciate her courage. I do. That is difficult. That's difficult to come up here and ask a question, but you can also do it respectfully.
But what bothered me about her, I'm glad she was there. She wasn't being honest. At least be honest, okay, and be willing to be corrected. Well, that was a fun fireworks show to end our time together, right?
So true. She was very dishonest. Also, I got to say, I love that quip by Charlie Kirk at the end where he said, well, God's on paper. He's in the Bible. Man is quick on his feet, and I really respect that. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you'd like, what you want to see next, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks so much, and God bless.